Perfect.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret, and the standing streamer, he's put me over, so now I'm putting him over with Putting You Over. Hey everybody, Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret, and you're watching Putting You Over.
All right. Jeez, of course. All of a sudden now I get a cough. Anyways, welcome everybody to Putting You Over. I am the stand. Clip that, Chunks. I am the standing streamer. This is Putting You Over. And tonight I'm Putting You Over. Woo! I'm going to get to speak to the NWA Women's Champion, Thunder Rosa. And I'm going to go up. I'm going to make the call to Thunder Rosa. Get her on.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. Just give me 1 second to switch. Actually, do I got to switch anything? Yeah, just give me 1 second. I'll be right there.
Mm-hmm.
Switch over to this. All right. Perfect. Everything. Look at that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, awesome. Excellent. First of all, before we get things started, thank you very much for doing this. I know we've been in contact for a while, one way or another, but I got you on. And I want to apologize, and you're not going to care too much, but my daughters are upstairs with a friend, and they're running around the house. I'm not quite sure what they're doing, but they sometimes come down and interrupt. But that's okay. They're allowed to.
No, it's fine.
They're allowed to do that.
My dog barks all the time and interrupts everything. So
That's okay.
So good. He does.
Can't tell if that feedback is my headsets or what, but it's all right.
Can you hear me? Oh, you know what it is? It's because I don't have you connected to the Wi-Fi. That's why.
Oh, okay. All right, we should be fine. We'll be fine. It's okay. How you doing today? First of all. Whoop. Oh, we lost her. She's back.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, it's the Wi-Fi.
I said, how are you doing today? What is it, 6 o'clock there?
No, it's almost 8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock. Yeah. So I was doing a lot of research for this show, and there's a lot of things we could touch. We could start with your background in wrestling and MMA. We could jump right forward to NWA champion, but I don't want to end the show on a screeching halt. So I'm gonna start with the earlier stuff. So you grew up in poverty, correct?
Yeah,
Is that how I would say it? Am I being? I don't want to say the wrong thing. Sometimes I do that.
I mean, it's not like we didn't have a lot. I mean, but right. I mean, I wasn't like living in the streets or anything.
Right. But you went through that, and this was in Tijuana, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And you ended up getting your U.S. citizenship.
Yeah, but not until like. It took me 28 years to get it. 28
years?
20 years.
Wow. What was that feeling like when that happened?
It was like something really awesome. Just being able to I guess it was in the Pledge of Allegiance and like knowing that you're a citizen, and that was pretty deep. And then also they had me be master of ceremonies along with another Brazilian. She's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu champion. She owns 3 different gyms here in San Antonio. It was really cool to hear her story and then hear mine. So just how they compare to each other and stuff.
At the same time, you guys got the assistant. Wow, that's nice.
That was really cool. And then that was really awesome.
You from a big family?
There is three girls and me. I'm the middle.
You're the middle of three girls. Oh,
Yes.
wow. Uh, they they all into athletic and combat sports, like yourself?
Hell, hell no,
No,
no.
no.
All of them. Well, the youngest one, she doesn't have any kids, but the oldest one and the one after me, they have kids. They're married. Actually, that one, the one after me, or before me, sorry, she married when she was 16, and she
Oh.
had a kid when she was 16. So there's a lot of pressure on me not to have kids, or just to like do that. So
To not have kids?
not when I'm 16.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
Being a father of three daughters, yes, yes. Not if you can. Anyways, we'll move away from that. I don't even want to touch on that anymore. But so you got through. We lost her again. We'll get her back. She's good. She's resilient. She's resilient. I know she's resilient. We'll get her back.
Hello.
Is she there?
Hello. Yes. The what? I don't know what happened.
Hey.
My internet is not working.
It's really where are my headsets? It's really challenging to all my connections are like if you could see my setup, it'd be easier to explain, but I stream from behind a bar, so I have to run around the bar to connect and everything. But we'll be fine and we'll move right out of the family stuff because it just touches too close to me. Having three daughters of my own, I didn't want to think about that stuff. But so you ended up pushing through, and you ended up going to college, and you graduated with a sociology degree, correct?
Yes, I did.
Yes, and I think that is what attracted me most to. I mean, I love wrestling, and I love your work and all that, and we'll get to that. But I think when I started researching you, and I was like, this is someone I want to have on because I like where she was. This is gonna be hard to say. What she was doing before that. So you were working. Mm-hmm. It was a tough job, correct? You were working. Let me see if I get this straight. With is it kids with mental disabilities or was it at-risk children? They're kind of the same.
At risk, and then from at risk, I moved to middle school, and where the kids had a mental health and they were like severely abused.
Oh,
so that
like
was
emotionally disturbed.
Like the last. Yeah, emotionally disturbed. And then after that, I went to a rehab facility where they were emotionally disturbed and they had drug addiction problems, drug and alcohol problems. And then after that, I graduated from adolescents or teenagers to young adults between the ages of 18 and 25. Ooh. That just came out of being 5150 or per se that they were in the psych ward. Yeah. So I was their peer. It was peer support, peer counselor. So I work with a lot of homeless women and men in the cities of San Francisco and Oakland, Concord, Pittsburgh, Antioch, all that East Bay and the Bay area. And that's what I did before I became a full-time wrestler.
And I think that is what because I was reading in You talked because I work in I worked with ED kids as well, emotionally disturbed ages probably a school age, so 12 to 18, and then also kids with autism from 7 to 18, and it was tough and it was really hard personally for myself, the grind every day. Like there were times how can I put this in the right way? There's times I would leave work and I was like, man, I had to restrain is the word I'm going to use. It's the most safe word to use. I had to restrain a child today 11 times for his safety.
Yep. And yeah, I remember those times.
and
I remember those times.
That was so rough. And so I think I read something about that where I was reading your background and you mentioned something about you may have had to restrain kids, and then you wanted that outlet. Like you would leave work and would need to find an outlet.
Yeah, it
And
was that was like mainly why like wrestling was so attractive to me. Like because I mean a lot of the times I remember like my it was like first second year that I was working in the first job that I had after college, and that was rough. Like some of the stories and some of the backgrounds of the skits were, you know.
yeah, no,
I mean,
I know.
you probably know, and it's just like it's rough to hear that because like you can complain about growing up poor and
Yeah,
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, but you can't.
right,
And when you hear this some of the stuff, you're like, I'm just gonna stop complaining.
right,
I'm gonna
exactly.
say I'm blessed.
I'm like complaining today because my kids are extremely hyper, driving me nuts. And in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. That's absolutely
No,
nothing.
no, it is nothing. I mean, some of these kids were like, abused, and then they became abusive
Mm.
towards, their family members, their little big brothers, big sisters, like, the caregivers. So it's just like, it was really hard, especially when you're like working in the school and then you go to the house and do
Yeah.
therapy with them.
Oh,
It's tough.
yeah. Well, we got the screech and halt stuff out of the way. I just didn't want to touch about that because I could relate to it. Um, Doing what I do as a behavioral specialist and all the strengths. We'll get through that. So you wanted an outlet. Wrestling was there. Were you a fan of wrestling as a kid?
I don't know.
No. Was there any wrestling? Well. Wait a sec. So you're from Tijuana. So the lucha style of wrestling is down there all the time. It's like it's on regular TV. Like just
Yeah, but I wasn't like, if there was not soap operas on TV, I wouldn't be watching anything else. Like, I didn't care about soccer unless it was a World Cup, or if it was like Siempre en Domingo, which is like this show at night that used to come on Sundays, and it was singers, and they all be like singing, like lip singing. They would be lip singing. That was like the thing. And like a lot of the Sundays and Saturdays, we will be at cousins' houses. Like when I was younger, like we didn't watch wrestling. My cousins used to watch wrestling, and when came to the United States, they used to watch Raw.
yeah.
And every time I used to see that, I was like, "What are you guys watching, man? This is so stupid." It's like, I was not interested, and that's when I wish I would have watched it, because that was when The Rock and Stone Cold were like feuding,
Yeah.
and like now I watch it, I'm like, man, this is great, But way back then, I was just like,
So
guys, you should be watching something.
it's watching something else. Why are we watching this crap?
Oh, but they love it. Like, I remember John Cena having. I never forget. It was like I was doing homework, and my cousins every Monday they were watching Raw, and John Cena came out, and he had like that big clock on his cheek,
Mm-hmm.
on a chain, and I'm like, what is this? And then he started rapping, and at that time I didn't really speak English, so if they were talking, I didn't understand what they were saying. So to me, it was just kind of like, man, these people talk forever, and then they do funny things. And yes, but I mean, I watched like some shows. I think when I was 18, I went to a live show in TJ. That was like the first time I went to one. And then once I came to the United States and I met my husband, that's the one who like really introduced me to wrestling.
He's a big wrestling fan.
Yes, yes, he's been a big wrestling fan.
And he introduced you to the live shows. I think
Yes.
I was listening to God, I'm gonna get the guy's name wrong. I think his name's Ian Kelly. His show is Domino Dozens, I think.
Yes, I just had an interview with him on Monday.
Yes, I was catching that, and I think you had mentioned in that interview you went to a Hood Slam event, a live show by the Hood Slam, and you talked about
every first Friday.
Yeah.
Every first Friday of the month, we used to go there, and that's when I met a lot of my friends. That some of them are now wrestlers, and they were like they used to take road trips with us. Joey. He's a really good friend. He's now a wrestler. He goes as Joe Gonzo, and he used to be one of the fans there at Hood Slam. And then we and now we're like really good friends. Who else? There's a couple people that we met from there.
So that athletics is of the athletics is I can't even say that. The athlete. Yeah. You speak better English than I do. the athletes there. Let's just say that the athletes there, and you were impressed by the live show. That you said to yourself, "What? This is what I'm going to do. This is meant for me."
No, it was, what was it? I think my husband was like looking at the wrestlers, and then he was looking at me how loud I was and how like vivid and everything. He was just like, maybe you should be a wrestler, and I was just like, okay. I mean, I guess. It's always like the idea of like we have crazy ideas. Maybe we should do this, and I was like, okay, And it wasn't until we went to other show that I was, and he just like, yeah, I think we should try it. I mean, like you seem to be a pretty good athlete. Like every time we try different sports, you do pretty well.
Did you play sports as a kid, or
No,
no?
not really. I mean, when I was 9, there used to be like a basketball league, but it was very, very small. But I had to like walk on my own because my mom was like, she was sick and my dad was always working. So I had to go on my own and walk in the mornings because I used to go in the evenings at school.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go there, practice, and then we had I think that's the only time that I actually like went to an organized like team. And I used to have games every other week, and that's the only time that I actually went to practice and stuff like that. And I was really sad because I remember they were giving us like awards and stuff, and like my parents like they didn't make it, so I just went by myself. Like none of my sisters, nobody came, and I was just like there, and like all my friends had their parents there, and I was just like, okay, it's cool.
You're just there.
Hey guys, I mean, we made it. And then after that, they discontinued the program. And then I moved out of that the neighborhood. And then when I was in the other neighborhood, I couldn't. In middle school, I couldn't really go because what was the reason? My parents couldn't afford the uniforms and stuff, so they said no. And then high school, when I was in Mexico, I had to work, so I couldn't really like do any sports there because I couldn't afford it, and I had to work to like help my parents with like rent and money for food and stuff. And then in high school, in the stuff like the time that I started like practicing sports was in senior year in the United States because we have PE. So that's when I was like, I got introduced to the gym, and like we were doing intercollegiate sports, and I was like, man, this is actually pretty cool. And I wanted to play soccer, but I was too old. And again, like my parents were not about it. So they're like, nah, don't do that. And I was like, then I'm gonna do student politics now. And you're not gonna like that. But that really helped me with the type of character that I have, like to like really develop my skills as a public speaker and as a student leader. So that really helped me through college because that's what I did through my whole entire college. It was student leadership.
Wow. So you go to Hood Slam, you go to all these live shows. Your husband now, boyfriend at the time, I believe, suggests you do it. You're athletic. Are you still working with the kids at this time?
Yeah. I was what was I doing at that time? I was a supervisor at a rehab facility, like 3 blocks from my house. And I was working in the mornings. So like my schedule was like somewhat open for me to do to start school, wrestling school. So that's what I did. And then I found a job that gave me more flexibility. And that's the other job I was doing, therapeutic behavioral services in the community. And I made my own schedule. So it really helped me. Like I woke up, go to the gym, go and see my clients. If I didn't see my clients in the evening, I'll just go to practice because I was working in the East Bay and I had to drive to Pacifica, which is like an hour and a half without traffic. With traffic, it was like 2.5 hours just to get there. So it's just like, it was like a long, long way.
It's dedication. So. What did your clients think when you said you're going to be a wrestler?
It was funny because they were very supportive and they're like, oh my God, you're crazy. And like, I was doing a lot of like, I remember in that rehab facility, we had a sofa and I was like, hey guys, you want to see me flip? And I was like, what? Like, yeah, you guys want me to see me flip? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, 15 to 18. So like, of course they want to see their like supervisor flip. So I was flipping in the sofa. And we were doing like stunts, or like when we will go, we'll take them to like overnight trips. And we used to do kayaking and stuff. Like I used to be like, who wants to be a volunteer to like get in the water? And I'm like, me. And I'll be like start doing flips in the water, or like just doing silly stuff, and they're like, "You are crazy. Now I know why you want to be a wrestler." So they'll be like really, really happy. And then I remember when I left, I just found a couple letters from some of the girls. Um, they were like, "Oh, you're such an inspiration. Like you like live for your dreams and a bunch of stuff like that." And then and I remember one. She contacted me on Instagram one time, and this has been like maybe 5 years after I stopped working there. And she's like, "I remember when you were talking about being a wrestler, and I didn't believe you, but man, you got big now,
Mm.
and I'm super proud of you." And then another one that I used to work with, we used to talk. He loved wrestling. He actually liked Eddie Guerrero. He's a Latino kid. He was like 22 when I was working with him, and then he followed me the whole entire time, and he messaged me like maybe like 3 months ago. I'm lying. When I went to Japan last year, he was like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. Like, I've seen you grow as a wrestler. Like, I've been following you. Like, I always liked you as my counselor, and now it's just like you just never stop. You're so resilient." And I was like, "Oh, this kid's like really pay attention." So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you must be to some of those kids, like the ones you mentioned. You're a role model. You're an inspiration, and once your story gets out, you are an inspiration for hard work, dedication, being driven, and I just think that all goes into the character that you've built, the Thunder Rosa character. Um, I just think that is just something special. Like how does it feel to know like you're inspiring young not only women but women of color?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of responsibility too because, I'm not perfect
No,
by any
no one
shape
is.
or form, and I always say that, and I don't want to put myself on like in a pedestal and where like, well, I'm this and like, you know, my shit don't stink, it's something like that. Like, no, like I am a human being that has issues and everything, but on the other hand, you know, I always dream to make it in life in one way or another. And I remember I always tell this story to people. I remember one time my mom was giving me grief about something, and I looked at her and was like, "Mom, I I was born to be a star."
Hmm.
I, but I was kind of like playing, but I wasn't playing, you know.
Yeah,
So
I hear it a
um,
lot in my house.
no, it's so interesting because like years after I was like, "Mom, remember when I told you that?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, it's happening." But I work so hard, and like you were saying, is like being resilient and like not stopping no matter how many obstacles we had. It was really important again because I don't have any backup on my name. I mean, I'm like first generation.
Hmm.
Like I was first generation, graduated from college, first generation, like second generation in America. And it's just like a lot of responsibility again because you have all the odds against you to fail on everything, on everything, and it's just like it's just been wrestling. Wrestling is like I treat it like everything I treat in life. It's just I have to work harder than anybody to like get what I'm working for.
So we talked about Hood Slam. You got interested. Your husband of now introduces you. You go to train, and
Hmm.
so you go to train. I believe it's now. Correct me if I'm wrong. APW Academy.
So I started at Hood Slam first. I went there
Okay.
because at APW closed down, and that was a place where I paid my money. I paid a pretty penny. Like I used my husband's college fund, $3,000 to pay for my 2 years of training at APW Hayward, and then Roland Alexander passes away, and my
Oh.
money also passes away with him. So there was no school. So I asked if I could go and stuff to Hood Slam, and they're like, yeah, come, whatever. And then I went there for a couple of weeks, and I was like, you know what, um, like I like different, like you check different schools before you like finally make a decision.
Right.
And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go to the new one they were opening in Pacifica, which is APW Gold Mine or Gold Rush boot camp. So I was there for like a year and a half, 2 years training.
Yeah, I heard you say on Ian's thing, you couldn't even get in the ring, or you couldn't get a match for 2 years, I believe. I believe you had to.
Yeah, but in the first school, like
Yeah.
we had a book and stuff, so we still like train with that book. But in the old school, it will take between a year and a half to 2 years before you get a match, because the guy was very particular about their wrestlers being technical, and he was big about two things: your arm drags needed to look good, and your drop kicks needed to look good. If any of those look like shit, you are like literally not allowed to have matches. And I seen a lot of the guys that came out of there that were very technical, and their wrestling was really really good. And that's why I was like, that's the kind of wrestling I want to do. I mean, that's where Sarah Del Rey and cheerleader Melissa came out from.
Out of Gold Rush.
No, APW,
Oh,
like the
AP.
old school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we are like the second generation school.
So you go through your training, you go through your boot camp. Where's your debut as a professional wrestler? Was it Lucha Underground, or was it
No.
Oh gosh, where was the hell was that place?
Actually, you can is Brian. Is my debut in Botchamania? No. No, not my match in Botchamania. My debut was at PCW, and then in Orville, and then from there, my first big match was in Gold Rush with Christina Von Ergen.
What was it like that first time, your debut match, first time stepping between the ropes? This is it. This is you. It's now a professional match. What was that feeling? What was Thunder Rosa feeling?
I was very nervous. I was like extremely nervous, and then you'll never want to like step on people's toes, because you're like, oh, I gotta respect my veterans and yada yada yada. So it was like, I didn't want to do that. But that made me learn too, when I have like a new person, or like it's like somebody's debut. Like you really want to work with their strengths and make sure like the match comes out as best as possible.
Yeah. So usually I start out all the interviews, I say, oh, I first recognize you. The first time I saw you was on Netflix, ironically.
On Lucha Underground?
Yeah, Lucha Underground. You were wearing a mask, which I don't know why they did that, because what you do now with your face and your makeup is like 75% of your character. It's just so great. But that's where I saw you first, was on Lucha Underground. What was that experience like? Because it's not really studio wrestling. That's kind of like how would I say
it's
it?
like
Hollywood wrestling.
Like,
yeah.
It's like, I mean, just imagine I only had like, I don't know, less than 30 matches. I was fresh from coming back from Japan. I had the show, and then that was like, so I had my debut in October 2014. I go to Japan April 2015. Come back in July 2015. Went to Mexico and trained. As I'm out there, or I'm planning to go out there, Lucha Underground calls me after a show that we did in Los Angeles, and they're like, "Oh, we want to sign you." And then I was just like, "Yeah, what do you have to do?" It's just like, you just have to put a mask on and then do this character, and then they talk about the character, blah blah blah. And I was just like, "Okay, cool." So by the time I get there and I see the studio and I see like all this kind of stuff, I'm like, "Holy shit! Like, this is some real shit," So I got used to like Hollywood treatment real quick. So I don't want to say I got spoiled, because I didn't get spoiled, but I remember we had tapings, and like I'm like staying in a 5-star hotel in downtown LA. The next weekend, I was staying on somebody's floor in in East LA, because they didn't give me a hotel because they couldn't afford it.
So where were you?
In East LA, in like call them my tios floor, sleeping on the floor, because the booker couldn't get me a hotel room.
Oh,
so man. It just gives you like, it's like, yeah, one day you're like in heaven and like you're treated like a Hollywood star. The next week you are sleeping
finding a place to live
on somebody's sofa, because it's wrestling and you still want to make it. And again, I was not Cobra Moon in all the other places. I was Thunder Rosa, and there, there was like no connection between that and my character.
How did you come up with the character Thunder Rosa?
I was like a collective idea between with my husband, and the face paint came out with a promoter. He suggested that, but I sort of got meant every time I have an interview, my dog is doing so much.
What's he doing?
He's just like stands in the sofa, looks straight at me like, bitch, stop talking and take me out. Always. It's like, it never fails. Like every single night that I had an interview, he does the same thing. He like crosses his legs.
Hey,
He looks at me. I want you to see this. It's like, I'm
Show me the dog. We're taking the attention away.
Look, Drago. See? He does the same thing. Always.
Oh, he wants no parties. Like, when is this over? The kid said less than an hour. Let's go. TikTok.
Pretty much. It's just like someone. He's always like that. He's looking at me like Baby Yoda right now.
Oh man. Oh, we could go an hour on Baby Yoda. For easy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He's Baby Yoda right now. Where were we?
I don't know. Your dog's name is Drago?
Yes.
As in Rocky?
No, as in the person that I used to drag from Lucha Underground.
Ah.
That's why we named him Drago.
How would you rate your experience with Lucha Underground? Positive? Negative?
for mostly it was positive, yeah.
What happened?
No, it's just like Drago's just being extra. He's being so extra right now. It's like, oh my god.
I'm gonna talk to him next week.
Oh my god, man, you should. You should. He has so much. She probably has so much to say about everybody in this house. I mean, mostly it was positive because I learned a lot of like the technicalities of being on TV production, character development. What else? A lot of the stuff like a lot of us in the indies don't learn the way that I did there. It was like a fast track, course on doing TV. Wrestling on TV. It was super helpful. Honestly,
It was big. It was big. Like right off the bat, it was big. It was like, here is wrestling on TV, not only TV but Netflix. Like well, I guess it wasn't on Netflix right away, but it
was on El Rey Network for a while. And a lot of people had that, and then the DirecTV and all the big companies started dropping the network, and it was just when like things got kind of shady. And then again, because like the production was so expensive, and people on top, like they didn't know how to manage it. I think like that just didn't help the product. And it was like, it had so much potential. Like after season 4, that's when like they cut the money like on half, and it was just kind of like went down the drain. But for me, like, again, on a professional level, it was a very great experience. In other things, and I've discussed it before, it was a very challenging way for me to be brought up in things, because again, I learned about a lot of, like I said, I learned a lot about the good, but I also learned a lot about the bad behaviors that certain individuals have in terms of like working as a team, trying to like not put people over in certain stuff, complaining about certain stuff if they didn't get their way, like certain stuff like that. I was just like,
wake up.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, I mean, I'm coming from a public service place, and you don't complain. I mean, yes, you might be like advocating for your clients, and but it's in a positive way. And sometimes I was just like, oh my god, do I have to do this to get over? Do I have to do this to get my way? I'm like, no, good things gonna go the other way. Or and I mean, I had to learn how to like advocate for myself and how to like block certain stuff, because it just eats you alive. So it was what it was. And like I said, even when I got released, thank God, I didn't ever talk ill about the company, because the people that brought me in,
it's not worth
Chris
it.
Joseph,
Yeah.
No, Crazy Joseph was always very kind, and he always tried to like help me as much as he could. Eric Van Wagen was always very supportive and very, very kind. Um, some of my peers, like the people that work Drago, let's say a lot of like some of the guys from AAA, they were very helpful, very positive. They always had something positive to tell me in terms of like the training and helping me with movesets and stuff like that. And I made like really good friends. Like even after Sexy Star, like we at the beginning it was kind of like a rocky relationship because I understand like when you're working with somebody new, you're kind of like I don't know. And then we became really good friends, and she's like one of the few people that I stay in contact from Lucha Underground often. Like she calls me, I call her, and we make sure that we're okay. And now we both are doing MMA together. She's very she's very supportive, and she was there on my first fight. Nice. So yeah, so a lot of things led to from that area, from that place led to me getting a better or bigger network. And that's what I said. I always take the positive, and the negative, like I said, I learned from it and I move on.
So I stumbled upon you at Lucha Underground. I was listening to Busted Open Radio on Sirius, and Tommy Dreamer was the was he the host that day? He might have been the host that day. You had your interview, but he had nothing but amazing things to say about you. All good things, and I believe it was your stuff from Ring of Honor. State of the Art, I think, is what I went back to watch.
Yes. He was there, and then I worked with him in Lucha Underground, and then I worked with him in like other indie shows. And I always I'll always ask him, hey man, like, can you give me some feedback? Cause I was telling him like I don't know what to do, man. Like I really want to get an opportunity. Like, who the fuck do I have to ask? Like, because I want to do it the right way. And I always tell him that I want to do it the right way, and I want to do it my way. And he was just like, well, let me watch your match. And then he'll watch my matches and he'll give me feedback. Next time do this, don't try to do this, blah, 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 blah. And I've always been with people I feel comfortable with. And he's always been like 100,
Tommy is, I don't know him personally. I just hear him on the show and I've seen and listen to his podcast, but he's an amazing mind and honest. Honesty goes a long way.
Yeah, that's why I like him, because he's always been like 100, and then he has like great stories.
Yeah,
from
I'm sure.
LA. So yeah, we had really good car rides with him, and yeah, so like people that I worked. It was one of them. It was him, MVP's another one, and I always like, hey dude, I want to be where you were. Like what do I have to do? You're a person of color. What do I have to do? And then they would be like really open and honest with me, and you're like. Because like I said, I'm a real person. I try not to like appear to be somebody that I'm not, because I can't do that.
That's what when I asked you the question, how'd you come up with Thunder Rosa? How much do Thunder Rosa and Melissa blend?
Man, I have to like. What is that show that you have to like call a friend for an answer?
It's it's phone a friend. It's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You got to phone a friend.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Let me phone a friend. Hey Brian, how much Thunder Rosa blends with Melissa? Like, I will say 90% or 100%. Like it's like 90% of me.
It's just like it's like Melissa to the extreme, maybe.
Oh yeah, you just put face paint on and then
there you go. There you go.
Yeah. What was that? And Cobra Moon is like the 10% is like the nasty. That's like the nasty Melissa you don't want to be
around. No, I don't want to be around that 10% at all.
Yeah. And that's legit. It's like legit. It was like I like went to the deepest, darkest place inside me to get that character.
Because that was a TV show. Like you could do, like they could write anything. Like you were a snake.
Yeah, but if you can, if you can make it like work, like nobody's gonna believe it, and people really believe it.
Yeah.
You know.
So, So I'm listening to Busted Open. You're on Busted Open. Dave did a great job. Tommy was talking high praise about you. So I started looking you up, and you're in Ring of Honor, and then all of a sudden, there you are. There's the first vignette I see on NWA.
That was
Uh,
like the best thing ever.
it's like I start hearing the drums like boom, boom, boom. That was the best, man. It's like that theme music was those drums. How does okay? All right, let's see. All right, before we go to the NWA, before like you pick the NWA, were you getting calls from other
No.
companies?
Well, I mentioned this like, and the WWE called me and they're like, "You want to be a ref?" And I'm like, "How much are you talking about?" And then they give me the number. I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'll try it. I'll just go in the tryout." And I was supposed to do it, but then at that same time, I was already training for MMA.
Right.
And I was like, "Man, I already like trained for like been training for like 3 months nonstop, and just kind of like." My husband was like, "No, you gotta think about it well, because you've been training so hard and we've been doing this our way. You know, it's like, are you willing to give up everything? And that means our life, our, because we have other things, like we do promotion too. We have Mission Pro Wrestling here in the area too. We used to have Sabotage, and we like created a trend on stuff. So we always like to like do things, and where we're trendsetters and certain stuff. And it's like you're willing to give up all of that, And I was just like, I mean, I'll just do a tryout and see what happens. And then things didn't pan out. And then NWA called, and then I was waiting for them. Like literally, I was just waiting for them to call, because like, David Lagana been telling me for a while, just be patient. We have something for you. Be patient. Something for you. And so sometimes you just have to be patient, and things will happen. But again, it was kind of like, I was so let down after Lucha Underground, and after how like season 4, like the character was growing, and we were like the trios champion, and it was so much potential, and it was just like, poof, nothing will happen, and like my followers didn't grow. A lot of people didn't know I was Over Moon, and it was just like, bruh, I don't believe in ghosts. But yeah, it was exactly what they say it was gonna happen.
Did you say you don't believe in ghosts?
At that moment, no, I didn't believe in ghosts anymore.
Because
Yeah.
the reason it popped in my head when you said that was when one of my daughters saw your face paint. I think it was it was the middle daughter. They go, "Oh, she looks like one of the characters in Coco." And Coco is
Oh yeah, this yeah.
yeah, that one. She was, oh, so that's what came into my head.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm a Sugar Skull. Like it's the Day of the Dead. That's what the movie's about.
Yeah. So you signed the NWA. They're exactly, in my opinion, it's a perfect fit. You're now training for the MMA. The combat. I can't say it correctly. Is it the combat?
Combate Americas.
Combate
America.
Americas.
Yes.
Combate Americas, and that documentary is what I'm going to call it. That Lagana put it together, correct?
Yeah.
Was some of the best stuff I've seen ever. It was so good. On one of the Power episodes, there was a trailer, is what I'll call it, for that, and it was tearful. It was just.
Oh.
It was so good. It was so shot well. Go ahead.
When we watch it, did you cry, Brian, when we watched the little documentary? Yeah. I cried. I sent it to my friend before they put it on TV. I was literally crying too.
It was. I can't even tell you. Like. Oh yeah. I'm listening to him. It touched something. It hit some sort of nerve, and I can't put my finger on what that nerve was, but it hit a nerve. And it was great. So you have your first fight, and you didn't win, but you didn't lose either, in my opinion.
Well, just a lot of work that I have to do for my next fight.
But that was your
So
first. That was your first fight. Because I've heard other podcasts. That was your first fight ever. Like ever. Like not a
yes,
professional. Like just a fight.
yeah,
That is.
yeah,
That's just mind-boggling to me.
yeah. And this man, I'm like, I was just talking to my friend and my husband. It's like every day, it's a struggle because very few people are doing pro wrestling and MMA at the same time because pro wrestling demands so much physically, and just add the factor of training because you have to train like 6 times a week when you're completely healthy. It's rough. Like it's very rough on your body. So I have 3 more fights that we're going for.
You got 3 more lined up.
Yes, 3 more.
Nice. So a goal coming up here is for Thunder Rosa to get her first win. Is what I'm going for.
I have to. Oh, I have to.
Oh, you will. You don't
There's
have
no
to.
choice.
You will. There's no have to. There's do.
Oh, it is.
All right. So let's get into what you're into now. You're in the NWA. NWA Power 605 every Tuesday on YouTube.
Yes.
You came in with a great vignette and intros, which we don't see that much anymore. It was phenomenal. It was it's an hour-long show, so you have a slow burn. They brought you in good. You're with other women of color, Marty Bell, Melina. You got a nice little faction going there. And then at Hard Times, it all culminates at Hard Times. Have you even processed the fact that you are the NWA Women's Champion?
Now I think I do, like watching like the highlights of the.
I mean, that was match of the night. You know that, right?
People still talk about it. It's been a week, and people still like tag Allison and then tag me. So yeah, I mean, I watched the match and like yes, certain things like again, he wasn't like perfect, but he was like it was so intense. And I think I tweeted the day before that I was watching Manami Toyota. And every time I have a match like that, I always watch her because she gives me like such inspiration to be so vicious and violent. And that's what you guys got, vicious and violent.
Who did you contact? Who was that you said?
No, I watch Manami Toyota.
Who's that? Japan?
She's a Joshi wrestler from the 80s and 90s, and she has like one of the most devastating drop kicks you can ever imagine. She'll jump to the literally run and jump to the third rope and like drop kick or do like a flying crossbody. She will do she was vicious. Like her matches with her opponents were so vicious, and I'm super glad we had the time that we had to tell the story that we told. And like, honestly, guys, like I was watching. I think I watched like 3-4 matches before I went to sleep, and I was like, I already envisioned like the story that was gonna happen, and then it was just magic.
Yeah, it wasn't rushed at all, and I think that's what the NWA does well is like they don't rush anything with everybody, and it comes off great, and they're sticking to their guns and their plan, and it's working. But as far as you go, I glazed right over the fact that you went to Japan and won a title, the first non-Japanese woman to win the title.
Yep.
Like how could I just breeze over that? What was that experience like?
I was like, when I won it, I was just like, oh, did this just happen?
Now this is your second trip to Japan, correct?
For that company, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So you're returning, and you win the championship.
Yes.
What from the first time to the second time, how do those experiences differ?
Well, my first time ever in Japan, it was just like you just come as a newcomer, and they test you and they see what's up, and you just be there as a jobber, pretty much like talent enhancement. So so I was my first 2 tours was kind of like talent enhancement, and And then the third one, when I went with another company, they really liked my work, and I remember just like, I don't have no problems with nobody. You know, I'm here to work, whatever. And they really liked my work, and they were like pushing me. And then my last match out there was in Sapporo, and it was for the main championship against Kaiju. And then, sorry, I came short on that one, but we had a hell of a match too, man. We had like probably like 20. It was a 20-minute match, and poor girl, so I went viral in one of those. One of the moves that I did, I was like, "Hey, you want to take a DVD driver on the apron? We're not gonna die." She's like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. I think that's easy." And then DVD driver on the apron, it looks so nasty. Everybody was like, "Hey, Mel, you shouldn't be doing that." And I was like, "Hey, bro."
That's the hardest part of the mat. Don't forget that.
I was like, "Hey, bro, did you see the end of the match? She still walks. She has no neck problem. She's fine, and she won." So, you know. And then they offered me to go back, but I couldn't because I had my fight,
Right.
so I was focusing on that. And then finally my schedule opened up, and they're like, "Oh, we want you to come back in the beginning of the year." And Mr. Taraki-san, he's a big fan of my work, and I think that has a lot to do with the push that I'm getting in that company, because he really believes also in my talent.
Nice. So, NWA Women's Champion. You actually have to defend that title this coming Tuesday with Alice.
I was not expecting that. I was
No,
like, this is too
right?
soon. This is too soon. Yes, I think you guys are gonna enjoy this very much.
So I look forward to that. And I also look forward to Allison Kay's. They have a charity run coming up here soon.
Yes, and you guys should donate. I think they have until February 8th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Just go to her.
Yeah, go to her Twitter. It's at Sienna.
Yeah, Sienna.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're selling 8x10s, or they're selling a bunch of stuff. I think the last time I talked to them, they were halfway through their goal, but they're trying to raise all the money as possible for it. So yeah, just make sure you go there and download that and put the money in there, or buy the 8x10 so you can,
support.
Get a little gift. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
So I'm gonna throw some questions at you before I give the microphone to you. Who haven't you wrestled that you would like to wrestle? Any company?
I would like to wrestle Nikki Cross. Like, we worked in Japan, but we were in the same faction, but we never got to wrestle. And I love her as a person, and she's a great wrestler. I would love to work with her.
She and you know what? When you said that, being in a faction, it made me think of the tag team you were in with Twisted Sisters.
Yes.
That was good. That was a good tag team.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. So, would you like to do more tag team? And well, I mean, you're the NWA Women's Champion. You can't really tag team now, but would you like to see women's tag team titles in the NWA?
I think that would be fun. I think that would be really cool. That would be a pretty good idea. I don't think that's ever happened in the history of NWA, right?
No, as far as I know, it hasn't.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I mean, I love tag team matches. Like, it's so much fun, and like, if you have a really good tag team partner, you can really feed off each other's energy. I've been very blessed with the people that I worked in tag teams or trios. We have worked really well, and we have meshed our styles really well. So I wouldn't be opposed to it.
What was I? I was just gonna say something about other. Out of, would you like to see the NWA sign anybody? Any woman that's out there right now? Free, I guess, available, not signed.
A free agent?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it definitely will bring a lot. If it's a great, opponent or a great talent, absolutely. I think it just brings the women's division and gives them more value. So
I think the
absolutely.
women's division, and sorry to cut you off, I think the women's division in NWA is awesome. I think it is it's better than AEW's, and it's second to, you know, the WWE. But there's a, I mean, the WWE's got a lot of women, you know.
Yeah. And I think you know what I like about the NWA is like they let us be ourselves.
Yes.
That's the difference between us and a lot of other companies.
And it's I think Bully Ray said it on Busted Open. He says it a lot of times. Uh, Nobody knows their character better than the wrestler, and I think that's what the NWA does. They give you guys as characters the freedom to be yourselves and to fail and to succeed, and I think that's wonderful.
And I think it's like also they help us to like channel certain strengths that we have to make our characters a lot more I don't want to say influential, but I want to say like for people to really get the stories that we're trying to
relate with.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I want to say.
yeah. They definitely are getting you to relate um, with the stories, all the stories, the men's, the women's, the announcers. Man, I related so well with Joe Galley here. We stood here, sat here for like an hour, talking about our cats, and he was sicker than a dog. Poor guy. Um, you goals outside of wrestling. So you have your and we got the link up on the screen. We have your YouTube up there. You have goals outside of wrestling, or ones that you want to pair with the fact of your you know, your popularity of wrestling.
Yeah,
Um,
I would love to get big sponsorships from big companies, you know, and like work on that and become like a real, like not, I don't want to say a real influencer, but like an Instagram influencer and
Right.
like a YouTuber, you know, just you know with the content that I'm creating and like having all that, I would love to do that and I can create my a platform in a different way, so I don't have to necessarily rely on one income source, and I can have different income sources. Um, yeah, I have some personal goals that I thanks to wrestling I'm gonna achieve in the near future. So we're already working on that.
um, your YouTube channel is you just started it. It's growing tremendously. YouTube.com/Thunder Rosa. Um, so if you don't subscribe to that and check it out, that's hard work, right? Putting out those vlogs and getting them out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
After I talk to you, I gotta work on my part two for my match, and that's gonna be a lot of work.
Well, I'll get you out of here quickly. I said, look, I can hear my kids. Look, they're still up. What the hell time is it? They're watching. I don't know, something. I thought the middle one would come down because I was gonna tell her that I had. I'd have to show her who I had on. I could say Thunder Rosa, but I'd have to show her
She's like,
you
oh,
with your face paint. But you don't have your face paint, and then she'd be thoroughly confused. But
yeah.
I don't know what she's up there doing. Do you have any hidden talents that like we don't know about, or
I
that we
sing.
may? What's that? You sing?
I sing sometimes. Yeah. I don't know what other hidden talents I have. Um, what else?
She can eat all the food of the world.
Oh, that's my son. Yes, I can eat all the
Oh.
food. I don't know. I like to bake.
Food is good. You should eat
I
it.
like baking. I'm actually not that bad at baking. I used to do art. Yes. Yeah, I used to paint before a lot,
There you go. You can paint.
but now and now I let either Monica or I pay somebody to do it for me.
You
She
could.
bedazzles. She bedazzles with my jackets.
By the way, that's one phenomenal leather jacket you have on.
No, thank you.
Welcome. Somebody's playing the piano upstairs. All right. Two questions, and we'll get you out of here. One,
Hmm.
your thoughts on Glow, the Netflix show.
I don't watch it.
You've never seen it?
I've seen season one, and then
I
I
think
don't really watch TV, man. I just watch NWA Power, and like if I something catches my attention, that's it. But I just don't really
I don't know. That was like one of the last questions I threw on
Glow.
my board, I was like, man, she'd be so phenomenal as a character on Glow.
I mean,
I-
probably you're right, but I didn't get the casting call.
yeah, well, we got to contact somebody about that. All right, last question, Thunder Rosa. Who do you have in the Super Bowl?
Not the 49ers.
No.
No.
No? Chiefs, you're not a
No.
49ers fan?
All them bandwagon fans, like the 49ers stadium was empty for like forever, and now they're like doing well. Everybody be out there. I live in the Bay Area. I know.
I'm a
They've been
Titans
struggling.
fan. I'm a Titans fan, and the Chiefs beat my team. I like defensive teams. I'm going to go with the 49ers. Is that all right with you?
Well, let's see. Let's see what happens tomorrow. But tomorrow I'm gonna be in Denver, so I'm probably not even gonna watch the Super Bowl. I'm gonna be doing Respect Women's Wrestling.
I'm probably. Oh yeah, I just saw that too. I'm probably not gonna be in watching the Super Bowl either. You know what? Before I told you that was the last question. I lied to you because I contacted Holly Dead. I believe that's how I say her name, and asked her if she had any questions for you. I told her I was going to talk to you tonight. She said, "Ask her that. When is the next time she's flying me home to see my family?"
Oh my God, Brian! You know what Holiday said? When is the next time we're gonna fly her home so she can come and see the family?
So I don't quite know. What
I don't
that
know
means.
when she calls me and I have enough points on my credit card.
And
You don't even pay for gas money.
I'll tell you what, the superstars this interview are Brian and Drago. They're the best. I'm gonna have them on. I'm having them on next week. Anyways, Thunder Rosa, what I like to do at the end of the show, it is called putting you over. So I'm gonna give the microphone to you. You can plug anything or nothing that you want. It's up to you. I'm gonna give the mic to you, to you, and you're
Like,
you can.
I'm so eager to talk now.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Go to my Big Cartel page, thunderrosa.bigcartel.com. Purchase all those new beautiful t-shirts. Thunder Rosa. Hold on, I'm gonna show you the shirt so you know that I'm not lying. Can you please model the shirt, please? This beautiful Thunder Rosa shirt.
You know what? I went to buy that shirt and the extra large was sold out.
We just added 5. How many extra large we added? Like 5.
It goes up to 4X.
Yeah, we go up to 4X, so we have your size
Oh,
now.
I'm gonna have to get it.
We just got the shipment, so you can go there and get them, and you probably get them on Monday. Well, maybe by Thursday you get them, and then you can also go to my IG in Twitter. It's at Thunder Rosa 22. Facebook, Thunder Rosa, and YouTube, as you mentioned, I'm under Thunder Rosa. Like the page, subscribe, and make sure when you subscribe, you subscribe to get notifications. So when you get the notifications that I have a new video, watch the video.
That's
and
right. Click the bell.
I will comment back to you, because that's how cool I am. Cool.
You are cool.
I am.
Very personable.
Extremely personal.
Extremely.
Especially when you give me a microphone. Sorry, I'm like so excited because I got this little mic. But,
Look at that mic.
yeah.
That mic is amazing.
Hello guys, how are you? And then I want to thank all my sponsors. They're like in the back always. All these people that make my life easier. Yay! Yeah, they sponsor my fight, and they say that they're gonna continue to sponsor me. So yeah, guys, if you want to sponsor Thunder Rosa,
there you go.
you should send me an email, thunderrosa22@gmail.com. You can probably be on my next vlog, and I can do something very nice for you guys.
So
Let's
do
talk.
it. Get on it. All right, Thunder Rosa.
Yes.
Good luck in your match next Tuesday. All that you do. Tell your husband I said he's phenomenal. Tell your dog I said he can have you back now. Thank you for coming to put you over. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, have a nice weekend.
Listen to them. They're up there yelling, running around.
I can hear them, but I'm
I
glad
know,
that they're.
right? You can, can't you?
No, I can't.
All right. Have a great night.
You too. Bye.
Bye. All right, I had a lot of fun. Yeah, she's very cool. She's very personable, as I said right at the end.
This guy's called the Standing Streamer.